Overlanding. It's an increasingly popular segment of off-roading, and it's all about taking the road less traveled, exploring, having a great adventure with your vehicle, and being self-sufficient within it. But if you're going to be building something for overlanding, what do you choose? There's a lot of options out there. Ideally, you want something that's good off-road and has a ton of space for all your accessories and things you want to bring along. Maybe something like this Unimog. Got a ton of space, it's got portal axles, it's got lockers, 38-inch tires. It checks a lot of boxes. But the downside to having something this off-road capable is it really has terrible street manners. It's loud in here, I'm in a cramped position. Realistically, I can't do more than 50 miles an hour, and that makes the journey a lot more of an experience and an adventure. But the reality of overlanding is you're going to spend a fair amount of your time on the street knocking out miles, unless you live somewhere really close to really cool adventuring off-road areas. But if that's the case, you most likely have a more serious off-road rig to explore with. Overlanding really needs to be the compromise of a streetable vehicle and an off-road capable vehicle. Kind of blend those together to make street miles easy on you and not so labor intensive. And off-roading somewhere you can get that's interesting and take a bunch of stuff to camp and, you know, have a great time and adventure. So while this can haul some sort of large camper or a ton of space in the bed and all the things I would need, doing 45, 50 miles an hour on back roads from Ohio to Moab really isn't a reality. I'll be deaf by then, for sure. Be cramped and tired. And that's before the part of the adventure you're really excited about can even start. So what are your other options? Something like this Jeep? There's a ton of aftermarket support, and that's great, but everyone and their brother has one. There's also kind of the high entry cost of the Jeep. There's not that much vehicle for your money. And on top of that, you have to learn some silly wave. Toyota's also a great option, but they're even more expensive and also extremely popular. But instead of those popular options, what if we took the less beaten path with our vehicle choice as well? So for this project, we've decided to go with this. It's an E53 chassis BMW X5. So this is going to be our next project. This is my, E53 X5 that you might recognize from our Winter Beater series. You also notice it's on mud terrains. It's because I put them on for the Winter Beater series and sold my stock ones. So our baseline is going to be with these mud terrains. In my eyes, kind of the first mod you should do on-road or off-road. And the biggest change you can make is with a decent tire. So I've already been very impressed with these, doing what little off-roading I have done, and I think they're a great starting point. And I'm not going to put it back to stock for that. The X5, specifically E53, is a good candidate for this type of thing, in my opinion, mainly because you could buy a lot of car for your money. They were pretty reliable. Yeah, they have a couple quirks here and there. That is what it is. But they were very advanced for their time, being a luxury SUV. And now that they're on their third, potentially fourth owner, you can buy a lot of that technology pretty cheap. It's really hard to buy something for, the $5,000 you could pick up an X5 for, that has all the interior features. I've got hill descent control and traction control, PDC, heated seats and wheel, and panoramic sunroofs, and Bluetooth, stereo stuff. So it's kind of nice. I think that's going to be key for the on-road portion of building an off-road vehicle, an overland vehicle. One of the great things about the BMW is it's not a Jeep. You don't have to learn some dumb wave and wave at every other guy in a Wrangler. And in my experience, the BMW guy wave comes naturally. I know the main thing you're going to be screaming at me about is there's not really any aftermarket parts for an X5 to make it into an off-road vehicle. And yeah, I know that is what it is. But what if You know, for instance, I worked for a company designing aftermarket car parts, and I had the ability to design the parts I need to make it into an off-road vehicle. That'd be pretty cool, right? So that's kind of the whole premise behind this build series, is we're gonna go through this X5. I'm gonna go through a bunch of different mods to make it into a decent overland and off-road vehicle and design the parts along the way. We're gonna go over the design process, how we normally do that, kind of the testing phases, why I'm making the products the way I am. And then in the end of it, you'll be able to buy these parts and build something just like it. I think that's a pretty cool premise. And I'm really excited to try to do some really cool off-road things with an unproven platform like this. That's kind of what gets me excited, is doing weird things with cars that they weren't originally designed to do. So one thing we're gonna be doing differently with this series is I'm gonna try to design a part that you guys suggest in the comments. So make sure you comment below. It has to be a good idea. I'm not making just random parts, but as long as it makes sense and it seems to be the popular thing to make, we're gonna try to do that throughout the series. Make sure you like and subscribe and follow along. You can follow me at Mike the Day. We're about to dive into this thing, so stay tuned.